everybody, Regan Hagstead here with Mortgage Success Blueprint, and today I'm going to share with you one of the other pieces of our 5-part series on how to build out a 2019 success plan, and that's really going to be on strengths and weaknesses. And every single year, I think it's really important to reevaluate what are you strong at and what are you weak at. And the funny thing is, some years what was previous year's strength is now your weakness because you got away from it, and vice versa. And so what I really want to do is say, how do we look at this? Like, what do we segment this out to really evaluate what I'm good at, what am I bad at, okay? And I think you need to break it down into 3 parts. The first is leads, referrals, and marketing, okay? So you need to sit down and say, like, am I generating enough leads to achieve the numbers I want, okay? And if I am, are they good leads? Right? Because we all know that if you get 100 terrible leads, that's kind of worthless, right? So let's establish, do we have the lead count of qualified, strong leads coming in the door? And then we need to establish referral partners. Do I have enough referral partners to achieve my goals or take me to that next level? And we really want to start backing in. Maybe you picked up a bunch of new ones, but maybe you lost some old ones. Maybe some retired, maybe some got out of the real estate business. Establishing, like, where's my business coming from, and do I have enough of those sources? And then the last aspect is marketing, right? Like, am I doing marketing campaigns? Is it social media driven? Is it print ad? Is it mailers? All the various things, and really dissect each one of those categories. Do I have the leads? Do I have the partners? Is my marketing doing what it needs to do? Like, do I have a good marketing plan in place? And go through and say, well, and you could be strong in one part of marketing and weak in another part of marketing. But really sitting down and writing this out and saying, am I good or am I bad? Can I improve, or should I just continue the momentum? That's really that first step in your strengths and weaknesses. The second step when you're looking at strengths and weaknesses has to be your database and has to be your follow-up. So when you start going through, has anybody ever had a scenario where you pre-approved a client and kind of lost touch, and then like 6-8 months later, you reach back out, you talk to them, and they're like, oh, I bought a house 2 months ago. Man, that is like the biggest punch in the stomach you can ever get. I know we've all had it. I had it. And one year when I was doing my strengths and weaknesses, man, I realized I had quite a few of those. And I thought to myself, I can't let that happen again, because if I put all this work into my leads and bringing these clients in, man, I need to put as much work into continuing and not losing those. So looking at your database, do you have an organized database? And do you follow up well? And do you have a chance every time you get a client to where they're going to be pre-approved? Are you given an opportunity by that client to do their loan when they buy that house? Or are you just kind of losing touch? So look at that. Am I good or am I a little weak there? And build on that. You always want to say, I've heard this a lot, but you always want to turn your weaknesses into a strength. I agree with that for about 90%. There's about 10% though, because there are some things like, man, I'm just not going to be good at. I know that. But I can make sure I'm not terrible, right? And so what I like to do is really just evaluate those aspects of my database and follow up. The third thing is presentations, conversions, right before pre-approval, before pre-contract, okay? Am I good at that? Because what I can tell you is too many times originators bring in the deal, they have good follow-up, but they just don't do anything that stands out. Like when they go over stuff with clients, maybe they just give them a 30-year fix with no points and that's kind of it. If you do a mediocre job, and I'm going to steal a quote from a good friend of mine. He says, if you do a mediocre job or you offer mediocre service, technology and automation is eventually going to do mediocre for a lot cheaper. And so when you're establishing how good do I do these presentations? How well am I planning with my clients? Are they taking value? That's something you really need to evaluate every single year. And as technology changes, you got to be reevaluating it every single year because presentations need to get better. The competition steps up their game, so you got to step up yours, right? So establish strengths and weaknesses there. And the last piece that you need to reevaluate for strengths and weaknesses every year is files in process. Now, I don't just mean when a contract's accepted, can you close it on time? That's the bare minimum. Like that's the bottom barrel. as far as that's a good job. What I mean is when you have a file in process, are you really setting it up in a way that not only do they close on time, do they have a great experience, but are you setting that process up to where that person now turns into a living, breathing, referral generating machine? Are you touching base at milestones, every milestone with them, and softly asking for a referral? Are you getting introduced to their CPA and wealth advisor? Are you cross-selling the listing agent? So I'm saying look in your process to say, am I just doing the bare minimum, or can I improve on that? Or am I really weak, right? When you start looking at strengths and weaknesses in these 4 categories and writing this down, you have to write down your plan. When you do that, you're gonna walk away really saying, man, I didn't even realize I'd gotten away from doing this. Or you're gonna look and you're gonna spark an idea that you've had for a while and say, man, I'm gonna do that this year. That is what I say to do every single year. Just reevaluate. It's not good or bad, because this is really just something that you're doing with yourself. You're not sharing it with anybody. Yeah, you can share how you're gonna approach it, but you really have to narrow this down. So I hope you guys take something away. I hope this triggers some ideas for you on how to build and grow your business and make 2019 even better than 2018. Feel free, again, like, share, comment, forward this out to your coworkers, because I really hope you guys can take some value from this and add this to your 2019 success plan.